Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Vital to the future of you all. Now, I want to tell you this. A lot of time, many may say I am subject to hyperbole, right? Many have said that. And you know what? They may be right. They may be wrong. I don't know. It's very hard to reflect on oneself, properly. But look, let me tell you, Mr. Aney there, his introduction, the message I'm going to give you is vital to the future of you all. I think I'm going to deliver that in spades tonight. I think I'm going to deliver that in spades, right? The theme of tonight was the song I was just listening to. I like to have if I have a minute or two before a stream, I listen to a song. I just picked one at random. It was the Beatles All Together Now, right? I freaking love that song, right? I love that song, and I want to be our raison d'etre, right? And we're going to be, because I think it's very important in this day and age with what's going on where we're finding ourselves in space and time, right? And we are finding ourselves in, I don't know, it's like, can we all agree this is crazy? We're in crazy times? Good. I mean, really, we are. But there's also been strife in the chat, which always upsets me, right? I'm never happy. I'm never happy when people aren't happy. And I know it's a bit, simplistic, but it really is true. That is actually the key to me. I'm never happy when people are unhappy, right? So we're going to start like, I'm not going to, you know what? I don't want to go into the details of what was going on. I don't think that's healthy. I'm speaking to somebody who was really trapped in like this cycle of anger and hatred and conflict, right? That grew out of control. Dwelling on the actual the thing that triggers everything isn't helpful. Know this, you're probably right. Okay, if you're pissed off, people normally get pissed off for a reason, right? Could be the other person pissed you off unintentionally. That happens a lot. Could be they pissed you off intentionally. I don't know. I would just say I'll say this, Yeah, I'm trying to think the right way of going at this. Okay. So there was once this great Bible sage, I think Hillel. Was it Hillel? I think it was Hillel. And somebody went up to him and said, "Could you tell me, the essence of reality? Everything. We call it Torah, right? Can you tell us that, standing on one leg?" And he said, "Sure." And he said, "It's v'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your fellow like yourself," right? Now, why is that good advice? I'm going to tell you why it's good advice on a personal level. Following this, right? Love your fellow. Now, what does that mean? We all give ourselves a pass, right? We all act badly. Speaking of somebody who's a bit of a naughty boy sometimes, right? We all act badly, but we all are able to. Forgive ourselves, right? Don't excuse ourselves. Look, we have a story, right? There's a reason you're waking up naked in an unfurnished apartment with the dead albatross, and you're naked, and you're in Morocco, right? There's a reason. You might not know what the reason is, right? But that's what I'm saying. I really have no idea how we got there. Anyway. Love your fellow yourself. You know how you give yourself a pass and you're an advocate for yourself. Do that for others, especially when they piss you off. Because I don't know. I mean, there's always like even if somebody's crazy, right? I mean, literally batshit crazy, right? And they're doing things to attack you, right? Because they're crazy. If you went inside their crazy rationing, their not functioning brain, it would make sense. Here is a reason for doing what they do. Most conflict is misunderstanding. I would give each other a pass, right? If you can, your life will be better for it. I'm going to explain to you why your life is better for it. So there's a neighbor of mine who I really, really like and respect. I do both those things, right? Now, why do I do that? It's hard to explain without sounding insanely arrogant, but okay. But it's the only way around doing it, right? Normally when I talk to people, I've got to cut up my thoughts into like tiny little chunks, right? Tiny little chunks. And feed them like a baby into the mouth, like it's a baby bird. Like it's like just take break it down. It takes a long time, and then you got to hope you don't hit any like emotional objection, right? It's like it's very hard. So this neighbor of mine, very smart, which I like, and witty and funny and clever. I always have respect for someone who, if they can get in a debate with me, right, can beat me and do it with a caustic, funny insult, right? That I have so much respect for that. I think I get that because that's what my mother was like, right? And that's like, I'm like, yeah, I always have a lot of respect for somebody who can go toe to toe with me, and I don't have to slow down for, right? So the other thing about it, this person is my window into another universe, right? And it's a fascinating window. It's that other universe that's in extreme turmoil, right? I would say hasn't had a good week, right? Didn't have a good week last week. So it's I understand everything in like a Jewish biblical prism, right? That's how I always like in terms of like being being good to each other, right? The person to always look at is Joseph. Joseph's a multicolored coat, right? So Joseph he had his 11 brothers literally want to kill him. I mean, like, and work hard to do so and sell him into slavery, where he should have become like some kind of gay sex slave, right? That's what should have happened, and they knew that's what was going to happen. He was a good-looking lad, now, Joseph, right? And then after they met each other after 30 years, whatever, and they find out he's still alive, and they're terrorized. He's got their lives in their hands, and he forgives them and he lets it go. He moves on, right? Even so, those brothers spend the rest of life terrified of him, that he's going to turn around and go on. They never see him, right? They never see him for him, right? They never see him for the loving brother that he was, right? And here's the archetype of a loving brother, because he looked after them and he knew they hated him, right? He knew it. Why? Because he's their brother, right? And we're all brothers. I think that's the way I look at the world, mate. I mean, I know I sound like a bit of an old hippie, but I am a bit of an old bloody hippie. Anyway, not been a good week. So what I think is going on is this. And again, I look at everything through a crazy religious thing, prism. And it's just the way I do that, things normally happen the way I think they will. And it's very disturbing. But it actually, I mean, okay. Do you remember a week ago me saying, I think it's going to kick off in the next few weeks, right? I think we're on the precipice, right? Do you remember that, right? In the history books, this is a match being lit, right? It's going to take incredible skill and diplomacy and tact and intelligence, right? And discernment from both, the general public but more importantly, the government and the leadership. So we're all screwed, right? Yeah, I understand that. We're all that's never going to work out, right? Yes. But what I think is going on is this, right? I think we're experiencing something, and I've been saying this a couple of years. We're experiencing something akin to the Exodus, right? Sociologically, it's so far beat for beat, right? The plague of blood was essentially felt exactly the same way as the American defeat in Afghanistan. And you can only call it defeat when they ended up giving the enemy military 70 billion in arms. That's not a win, mate. That's not a win. Okay, that's a bad day. But like that was very, very similar to the Plague of Blood, because the Plague of Blood was to demonstrate that the Nile was the source of Egypt's power, right? And nothing was safe, right? Nothing was safe, and they weren't all powerful. And it felt the same way because they had magic back then. Again, according to my, wacky worldview. So, this friend of mine, right, has the completely different world. They are in this of the bubble, right? There's two ways of looking at the world right now. You could say that Donald Trump was awful, right? Absolutely awful. And finally, American people realized they rose up and they threw him off, and then he staged a coup, right? Which nearly succeeded, and now finally justice is being served, right? That's one way of looking at the world. I don't think that way matches reality. Right? I don't think that way matches reality at all. Now, we all think our way of looking at the world matches reality, but here's what I think is going on. I think God is making it impossible to believe in this. In Judaism we call it treif. It's not kosher, but treif sounds so much better. It's like it sounds worldview, which I think is represented by the Biden White House. I mean, it's a completely anti-God worldview, right? I mean, so we got the issue of abortion going on right now, and the thing is, to live in that bubble, you cannot pop that bubble, right? You cannot look at alternative media sources, right? You cannot entertain different ideas. You can't do it because it's built on quicksand. It's a lattice work built on absolute quicksand, right? I mean, let's say everything's really predicated on that worldview. I mean, let's say Joe Biden actually did win. He became president, right? Let's say, when all the legal votes were tallied up, he actually won. I'm open to that possibility. I'm very open to it, right? It could be people hated Trump. They didn't realize how good they had it. It could be. I'm not saying no, not possible. I'm saying it was very suspicious. And it just was. And it's only got more suspicious ever since. Now, I might be wrong, but all you had to do is right there and then open those ballot boxes and show they weren't all filled out by Mickey Mouse and signed by Stacey Abrams, right? If they were signed at all. Right? That's all you had to do. But instead, you jumped up and down and called me a racist. I'm like, you call me, oh, you're silly. I mean, you're a silly yokel. You're a silly yokel that's been taken in by the evil mastermind, Donald Trump. How many times do I need to be proved right? The Hunter Biden laptop completely destroys the worldview. Completely. Above and beyond what's on it, which shows, Joe Biden using his political influence and threatening Ukraine to fire somebody investigating Burisma, who his son was on the board of, and they had joint bank accounts. That's when they weren't sharing porn. That's weird, okay? Listen, I whatever you are in your own private life, but I think porn's an individual thing. It's a personal thing. I don't think that's something you want to be sharing with your father. What's wrong with you? You're weird. And then you had this, diary come out of, who was it? Was it Biden's granddaughter? Oh my God, it's not good, okay? It's not good. It's not good. Anyway, I digress. Let's say he won, right? Let's say, okay? How do you expect anybody to trust the institutions when you've been screaming about it for the last 4 years? How do you expect anybody? You've been screaming for 4 years. How do you expect anybody sane to trust an institution again? Right? That's where we are because you were crazy for 4 years, what made you more crazy is how successful it was, right? Like we had misery under Biden for 8 years, right? Misery getting worse and worse. Then the sun came out, and we all made money. Do you not remember? We were all happy, apart from you screaming relentlessly, okay? So eventually, after you burnt down the city after city during the summer of mostly peaceful protests, people said, I will do anything if you just shut up, right? Just shut up. I'll vote for him. He could win, all right? I could believe it, right? But to have any credibility, one needs to have an equal standard, right? What's that thing from the Babylon Bee? I put it on Facebook. I thought it was very, very funny. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. I'll pull it up for you. And the thing about Babylon Bee is it's very accurate. Everything. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. His daughter showered with Biden. That's really creepy. I mean, but look, one time I met a rabbi, and I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but he kissed me on the lips, right? It was really weird. I didn't like it. I wasn't on board, right? And it was a bit weird because he was my boss. But that's the creepiest thing that's ever happened to me. You don't shower with, like, that's just weird. Anyway, Dems Paul's January 6th hearings to call for insurrection, essentially. It's yeah, you got to have one single standard, right? You got to have one single standard, and so, but from their worldview is Trump obviously lost because everybody threw off his evil shackles and saw him for the evil charlatan that he was, right? And then he staged a coup and an insurrection, yeah, but you need to be able to analyze these statements, right? Was this really the most safest and secure election of all time? If it was, why did you gag anybody questioning that? That sounds like you're very insecure about it. Oh, of course, distrusting institutions. Didn't you do that for 4 years? And it was okay when you did it? But no, but you were right. And here's the thing. You insist you guys are right. I've got somebody going through this and do not know who it is. But yeah, and there's so many times. It's been like, I mean, every time. But anyway, the counter by the laptop destroys the worldview because that does demonstrate a collusion between, the intelligence services, FBI, CIA, NSA, the media, social media, entertainment media, social media, news media, and big tech. I can't leave out Apple or Google, and the Democratic Party to change the election. That actually happened. So you can't tell me it's insane that I'm considering there's a conspiracy between the NSA, CIA, FBI, Democratic Party, a large element of the Republican Party. Don't get me wrong. No, it's not black and white, mate, right? Social media, news media, entertainment media, big tech, to forward a false narrative when that actually happened, right? That actually happened, and it's not just once now, is it? Right? And here's the thing. People with that worldview believe everything with all their heart, right? They believe with all their heart and all their might that a critical race theory being taught in school was a false lie. And then how many examples? How many examples would you want? Critical race theory applied principles within textbooks over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. At that point, you're going to say, oh, endorsed by the teachers union, put in by the... At that point, you're going to say, oh, there is critical race theory applied principles with being taught in schools. It's not a lie. It actually happens, right? Or transgender policy. Well, what, you want to tell me you're not teaching children to give each other blowjobs or to give adults blowjobs? I'm terribly sorry. I don't have my copy of Gender Queer handy, which is an actual book in actual schools. It's like everything they said was like everything you said was crazy happened. Well, a slippery slope from gay marriage to trying to teach your children to take. It happened. What do you want me to say? I'm not making up reality. It all happened, right? Carl Rittenhouse, they all believed it. Jesse Smollett, right? Black people didn't believe it. Black people are like, yeah, but white people believed it. Oh boy. So what's going on? Because I want to remind you, right? My friend who is in this worldview, right, isn't stupid. At least as smart as me. Probably smart. Isn't really not. Really, really just isn't uneducated. Like 100 times more educated than me. What's going on, right? I mean, to me, this seems like, we call it sheker in Judaism, obvious falsehood, right? And no doubt they feel the same way about me, right? No, but it's then, who do you believe? How can anybody possibly believe? CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Fox News has found itself a little niche with Tucker Carlson reporting stuff on new media from about 3 weeks ago, right? Selectively, right? And everyone's like, oh my God, this is incredible. Yeah, just go and look on YouTube. It's there 3 weeks earlier, right? Go and watch Tim Pool. See, Russell Brand. There's so many options, right? There's so many options. People who are actually leftists. Russell Brand hated Trump. Tim Pool didn't want to vote for him initially. He voted for him second time round. He doesn't think the election was stolen, right? These are reasonable people. They're not crazy people like me. But they cannot, like when you're in a cult, you can't talk to anybody outside because then you question, the premises, right? I mean, again, you were all suicidal at 3 a.m, right? The night of the election. You knew Trump was going to win. It was ahead. It was impossible for him to lose, right? And then said, no, stop counting. It's totally normal. We've never seen that before. Now, and then when they started counting, which was 4 hours before 2 hours before they said they would, the count had changed mysteriously, right? And that's just a mail-in ballot. Okay, show us. All right. There's all these cell phone tracking data showing multiple drops of in these unguarded drop boxes, going from the Stacey Abrams office and other Democrat office in Georgia. That actually happened, right? There's enough there where you can go, the idea that this was unquestionable, it's just not true. And again, everybody saying it has been wrong about everything else, right? I mean, everything. Do you remember when you said it was ridiculous that the Trump campaign and the Clinton campaign and the FBI together spied on the Trump campaign? Do you remember when you said that was ridiculous? Do you know that was confirmed in court about a month ago? It all comes out in the end when it doesn't matter. And the weird thing is, when it does, it's like it was never there. You can't live in a universe where there wasn't a Hunter Biden laptop, where that wasn't suppressed, right? 1 in 6 voters, Biden voters in those mysterious swing states, right? Which where the math goes completely insane. But don't look at it. I mean, the rolls are completely out of balance. But the people there were either Democrats or people who really very much want to believe it, or would get threatened with having their houses burnt down. And don't tell me that didn't happen. I watched it happen. I watched the houses be surrounded by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, right? And that actually happened, right? Excuse me for being suspicious. It sounds very, very suspicious. But I'm open to him winning. Don't get me wrong. I really am. Absolutely am. I'm not open to say it's not so. So then goes to January 6th, right? Okay, so January 6th has a lot of similarities to the Gretchen Whitmore kidnap plot, which was basically the FBI, a few yokels, right? Looks like there's this guy called Ray Epps who was really the mastermind of it, right? He was telling everybody to get in, they're going to get in the Capitol tomorrow, riling everybody out. He was there when they broke down the gates. He had something to do it, and he's being hidden by the FBI, right? Probably has something to do with it, right? I don't really trust him, right? You got to have some kind of single standard, right? You can't say the riots and the autonomous zones, which was basically said we are insurrecting from America. We are not part of you. It was not an insurrection where that was, right? But you say, oh no, it's because he lost and he was lying. So there's too much doubt to believe that without with crystal clarity. That all your sources have been utterly discredited, right? I mean, again, it's not like it was. I'm not saying it was a shadowy back room, right? John Brennan, James Clapper were on freaking CNN and MSNBC. It wasn't done quietly, right? James Comey briefed Trump about the Steele dossier and the piss tape, and then leaked it to the New York Times. And the only reason he briefed him was to be able to leak it. Again, all this happened. How do you expect anybody to have any trust in any institution? And you go, oh my God, you don't trust institutions? And then the Supreme Court goes, oh, that's not right. I said, screw that institution. Oh my God. Okay, they were perfect when they said they wouldn't take the case from Texas to Pennsylvania. We love those institutions, and that proves we're right. But now they're evil. We must burn them at the stake, right? So this worldview isn't real. The worldview, and what's the worldview? The worldview of anybody Republican, anybody not like you, wants there to be no abortion to control women, which is what I believe they believe, right? They believe this is some step towards a handmaid's tale, right? This is a desire to control and suppress women. I don't believe that stands up. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that stands up at all. I'm willing to agree that it's a woman's body, right? The fetus is gestating within a woman's body. And I think as it's gestating within a woman's body, the woman has domain over it. I mean, just in a legal matter, right? It's like this book. You can ask him what he wants. You can't, right? Right? It's her body, right? She has control over that. I agree with you. Is it moral to kill something? Is it killing something? See, that's where it comes down. Like most people, there's such insane logic that they keep being pumped into, and it's just like insane premise on insane premise on insane premise. You got to go right to the root. But one of these things was that this is awful because a handful of people, a minority, have complete control over the minority and it's of the majority, and it's wrong. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? So, well, these judges were voted in by presidents who didn't win the popular vote. I'm like, what the hell? So therefore, they're all okay. It's a constitutional republic. I'm English. Bloody hell, I'm telling you, it's a constitutional republic. Yes, population centers are densely populated with people. The food is where the red states are, ding-a-ling. That's why you have a union, right? That's why you're so freaking strong. Why are you the strongest world power the world has ever seen? Because of your union. It's worth something. And the problems America is facing is because it's lack of union, right? Because you've been sold a false bill of goods that anybody doesn't agree with you hates you. That's not true. How do you know a fetus isn't alive? Like, how do you? Look, my personal opinion, I think abortion should be around. I believe the Bill Clinton thing sounds reasonable, safe, legal, and rare. That's, I mean, these 9-month abortions, it's obscene. These postpartum abortions. But here's the thing, and this is really what it boils down to: does life have any sanctity? And like, is it intrinsically sacred? I mean, or not? Right? Like, because if you don't believe so, it doesn't matter if you kill a baby. It doesn't matter if it's a newborn, right? It only matters if it's connected with other people, right? And it might upset people, might hurt people. But it hasn't connected with anyone. Yeah, kill it. What's the difference? It's meaningless. It's just they say it's a bunch of cells. It's still a bunch of cells. It doesn't make a difference. If life doesn't have sanctity, life doesn't have sanctity. And that's what it boils down to. Now, I understand abortions are something that are often necessary, right? And I don't think most are on board for them being prohibited in cases of medical need, rape, incest, psychological distress, genuine psychological distress. I don't think anybody rational will feel that. Most right-wing people don't feel that way, right? That I know, right? Most people aren't cruel. And you've been sold a false bill of goods by thinking that they are, that they're yokels, that they've been taken over. No. And I'll remind you, they keep being proved right about everything, right? Everything. Have you seen the gas prices? Everything. Trump predicted all of this, right? He was right. Again, right? Again, how many times do you have to be proved wrong? Anyway, I digress. And really, why going to the state seems reasonable to me, because the state should reflect the populace of that area. Why should the people in New York, which is more densely populated, have placed their, what I consider their completely immoral judgment that life has no sanctity on the people of Alabama, who do believe life has sanctity? Why is that okay? It's not. It's not okay, right? But it's not. I don't believe this is the end of reproductive rights for women. That's insane. And the terror of where it's going to, like, they're going to stop contraception, they're going to stop interracial marriage. It's just ridiculous, right? The slippery slope happens, right? We've seen it, but that's on your side of the aisle. This ain't like the gun law, yeah. One thing the Uvalde shooting has showed me is you should be armed if you live in America, because you cannot trust the police. And little wonder that you can, after the sum of burning down police stations and saying defund the police. Oh, what a shock that you're left with a completely ineffectual police force. And why would they work when the district attorneys won't charge anybody? Why do you think crime has taken over all your country? It's because you Democrats are insane and failures. It seems that's what the facts of the matter seem to say. But why is God doing this? Why has God made it so obvious? And I think in the next few months, it's going to reach a head, and it's going to get genuinely obvious, right? In a scary way. I think just like the Exodus, there is the point of the Exodus was, at the end of it, the world didn't have this. The idolatrous worldview was pretty much destroyed, right? The way Egypt thought the world was this thing called primarchy, where you have one person and one person under him and people under them. People basically you make a pyramid, right? That was their raison d'etre, and that was destroyed by it, right? So I think this Biden worldview is going to be destroyed by it, and you see, I like and respect this person. I genuinely do, right? And I think God's coming and to red pill them, right? And it's I would like it to be. My motivation is this. I would like it to be as painless as possible. It is going to be a painful, obviously. And I've really put myself in that place. Like, what would it be like if I was completely proved wrong? Right? What would it feel like? And I bet it not nice. Right? I understand. Like, what, like, if we live in the world now that they said would be if Trump became president. This is the world we live in, right? And the world we lived in when he was president was the opposite, right? It was just the way it was, right? What would it feel like? And I don't think it will feel good, right? But I think the more one resists God trying to tell you something, the louder he's going to scream it, right? So yeah, I implore people to go to alternative media sources, because once you do, because I was mentally ill, right, for extended periods of time. And the thing that cured me, right, was actually two things. There's one, Ricky Gervais saying, the thing about mental illness is you think you're being normal, right? That saved my life. 100% that saved my life, right? Because I went, I did think I was being, and that's saying that I was like, because I wasn't being normal, right? Right. But the thought that changed it, right, that cured me of this thing, right? And it felt like this invading entity was asking myself, what if things aren't like the way I think they are? Right? What if things are not like the way I think they are? And once I did that, it knew it couldn't sustain itself, right? It knew that falsehood couldn't sustain itself. I think it's the same with the current global situation. It's built on this incredible lie on an incredible lie. And we can see the results of the lies, right? And they all keep being proven to be lies. What was it? Inflation is transitory, is it? Remember that? Yeah. And like this, and they knew they were lying. Just like Clapper and Brennan knew they were lying when they said it, the laptop was Russian disinformation, right? And I wish I could say the most embarrassing thing on that laptop was Hunter Biden sharing porn with his father from Pornhub Premium, by the way. Most people I would have thought would find the unlimited free porn on the internet enough. No, Hunter Biden wants the Pornhub premium, right? And what was he searching? Sad MILF, sad MILF widow porn, right? That basically his brother, right? He had an affair with his brother. It's just, and he shared it with his father, okay? Ew. Right? And that's not the most embarrassing thing on that laptop, or the most indictable thing on the laptop. And at the same time, this incredible use of the DOJ as a political tool, right? Going after these people. Oh, but it was an insurrection. Well, was it? Let's have that conversation then. Tell us who Ray Epps was. Let's have a real investigation. Was it really? I don't think that's why they want a one-sided narrative, right? If it was, let's see what it really was. But they instead of going after Antifa, people who burnt down, they go after the parents who don't want their kids indoctrinated with racism and perversions, right? At the freaking window, what's it look like to you? Like little girls are allowed to give themselves double mastectomies. Boys are on chemical castration. Yes, this sounds like the end of the world to me. Yes, okay, yes. If I could take a snapshot of where the world is now and take it back to 2020, we wouldn't believe it. It's gone insane. It has gone insane. That's why I think it's the end of days. I implore everyone to go for news sources that you don't agree with, right? I find Russell Brand very good, right? Because I really disagree with a lot of his premises on life, but I like his honest evaluation. So and again, if you're somebody who hates Trump, that's a good place to start, right? That is a good place to start. Because here's what I think's going on, right? There's a we have a guest coming on in a bit, by the way. So that'll be next. Just let everyone know. But here's what I think is going on. There's this thing called the 6 constant mitzvahs. The mitzvah is a commandment from the Old Testament, right? And the final one of it is don't go after the desires of your hearts or your eyes. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, why not? They sound pretty groovy. I like those things, right? That's pretty good. But I hate. Here's what I think it's saying on a somewhat deeper level, right? The way they place words means something in biblical scholarship. Like they compare the Israelites, right? When they came to Mount Sinai, they said they were one people and one heart, right? How the generation that built the Tower of Babel, right? They were one heart, one people. So they put the word heart first with the Tower of Babel to show they were driven by their passions, right? Their lusts. Where they did the Israelites, they put the nation first because they're driven by a national revelation, right? So the way you place words matter. So don't go after the desires of your hearts or your eyes. So there's 2 ways you can experience reality, right? You can bring in data through your eyes, for your senses, and then you can evaluate it, and you can have an emotional resonance from that. And the heart is the captain of the ship. The heart will always drive you, right? That's why these social media companies work the way they do. That's why, all these media companies work the way they know the heart is captain of the ship. If you control the heart, you control the person, right? And that's why everything's such an emotional argument. You control the heart, you control the person. Do you remember all the heart-wrenching stuff about Ukraine? You control the heart, you control the person. Nobody gives a crap about Ukraine anymore, right? You control the heart, you control the person, right? It's as temporary as that. So, but what's going on is this: our hearts are being controlled by these multi-billion international forces. Yes, they are absolutely being controlled, and you know it, and I know it, right? By algorithms, where our hearts are being controlled, and we are going after we have our passion, and we feed through our senses, and then what we see matches our passion, right? We can only see the thing that matches our passion, right? That's the mistake I believe we make, and I think it's being done purposely to us. Like these social media platforms in general, they're designed to create hatred, right? The more you can panic and put somebody at a war footing, the more you can have them on your platform. Like what is the product of Facebook, right? How do they make money? What is the product of Twitter? What is the product? You're a part of them, and you are. It's just how it works, right? I'm not. This isn't conspiracy. This is actually how it works. Selling your personal data is how they make billions upon billions every day, right? By your participation, right? You being controlled. That's how they make money, right? So, and I have to tell you, it offends me that I believe my friends being controlled because, again, really smart person, funny, moral, right? And it offends me. But yeah. So listen. So all together now. Remember that? That's how it started. That's the theme. All together now. We're gonna be all together. And we're going to have differences, right? We're going to have differences. And I tell you, I am so glad that these people are in my lives because my life is richer for it, right? And I like that they have a different point of view than me, right? And I like they can speak up and they can defend it, right? It's good. It's a good thing for the world, right? So all together now, it just, the bottom line, here's where I'm going to get it off and then we're going to get into geeky stuff, right? What's the bottom line? What does God want, right? What the hell does he want with you, right? What does God want? God wants you to be happy. God wants you to be the ultimate you. Well, the best you, the happiest you can be, the most fulfilled you can be, the most actualized you can be. That's what God wants, right? And honestly, the commandments, when you look at them in reality, that they are there to facilitate that. If you every time I look at, we had this awful situation in my town a couple of years ago, and honestly, if they had just followed what the Torah, what the Old Testament, the biblical thing was to do, anybody had done that, it would have worked out better for every person involved. But nobody did. It was incredible to me, right? The function, and you don't have to believe it, right? You don't have to believe in this stuff. I'm just saying the function of these commandments is to make you a happier person, right? To give you a better life. So all together now, and that's the sense. That's the function of Torah. That's the we started off saying about the sage, I think Hillel, right? They are saying like, can you tell us what the essence of Torah is standing on one leg? We have to all together now, right? We're all together now. So I understand there's been a Barney in chat. Put it behind us. Everyone's an arsehole. Let's move on. Speaking, I really should get to the chat. My guest waiting like half an hour. I told you I'll be long, right? I told you I'll be long. There's many things that can be said about my guests. One of them is I've got to put the link for his campaign in the chat. I'll do it in a second. Many things can be said about my guest. He's just out from a 15 run in Quinton. Known for biting the heads of live sheep. It's of course the mad, the sad, the dangerous, and critical blast. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not a political person, Rabbi. I don't get into politics
I love
at
that
all.
one.
This is the T-shirt that shut down our store.
I saw they scrubbed that image. Yeah,
they scrubbed the image. Told me it was a violation of TOS, and I'm like, okay, close my account and take down all the other stuff.
If there's nothing to worry about, why are you so worried?
It's weird here right now. It's like I did not see this Supreme Court thing coming. Like I just turned on the news and like, you overturned Roe v. Wade today. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Well, they did the gun thing the day before that they were freaking out about.
Yes, I've said conservatives have had more big wins under Biden than they ever had under Trump.
It's weird. Again, look, I think God's real. That's basically the bottom line. I think God's real.
Well, the thing is, I've said for years, for decades, that the last civil war in America basically boiled down to a certain class of life was a human being or not. And the next one's going to be about the same thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're right. Yeah, it's an interesting point. But I'm just looking for your campaign. So critical blast here, by the way. If you're running a crowdsourcing campaign, I'm gonna hopelessly plug you because your service is fantastic. If you're running a crowdsourcing campaign and you're looking for your life to be easier, may I recommend Critical Blast service? Freaking awesome at you. I mean, honestly, the work you've done for me is way better than I thought I deserved.
Just lick stamps.
But yeah. But you have your own campaign up now. One second, let me just pull it up.
I do. Do you want me to share it, or do you have it and want to drive with it?
I got it right here. One second, I'm just putting it in the chat, and then chat. I apologize. 45. Okay, tell you what. Let me pull up the campaign. Now I'll read about half the chat, and that way it'll be up, and people will be able to look at it. While I catch up, because I'm really behind. Right, yes. I'm really super behind.
I'm the only Southern Baptist who goes to a rabbi for spiritual advice. And while we've been talking about
well, I mean, look, that's another reason I think it's the end of days. I really do. I think it's the end of days because, we're all kind of in the same corner right now. Right? It's like, and that's actually a biblical prophecy that the children of Esau and the children of Jacob will walk together, right? And I think Esau is where essentially Christianity came from, right? Yeah. Let's look at that. It wants to use my data for something. What's this thing?
Oh no, it's an Indiegogo thing.
Okay, so fine. There you go. Fine. You got my data, of course. Well, what was I just saying? Now I totally lost my train.
The children of Asaph.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well done. When Jacob's coming back to Israel, he thinks Esau hates him, right? His brother is going to kill him. When they eventually meet, they end up being friends, and they say, "Come walk with me." And he said, "Well, I got all the stuff slows me down. We'll walk together later, right?" And I think now's a later, right? I don't think Trump protecting Israel in the UN was a fulfillment of that prophecy. That's what I think prophecy fulfillment looks like. It looks boring, right? It looks mundane. Yes.
Yeah, it's never, literally the sky being rent from the east to the west and opening up like right. That would be something. It's always something boring and prosaic, and I always look at it like,
the first miracle I saw that I recognized as a miracle was when I first came to Israel. It was first got religious. It was like 91. Was it 91? Yeah, it was 90. It was December 91. Right, or 90. I can't remember one or two. I think it was 91, right? And there'd been a drought for like 2 years. They were like, and so there was this big day of prayer at the Wailing Wall, the Western Wall, like the holiest place in Judaism. And like all the rabbis there, they're crying. It was really heavy. Like, oh no. And then about a week later, they used to have the biggest snowfall and rainfall ever. Right? It was like, and then, it was like a butterfly beat its wings on the other side of the world. And fine. Just to be, before I get to the chat, the plan for tonight is I want to do the Nicola Bryant story. It's pretty awesome. I've done research in this for you. We're going to look at Stranger Worlds, because I'm liking. I think this was an excellent episode. A lot of people hated it. And the Orville, which I think has jumped the shark, right? I really sadly think it's jumped the shark. Fine, let me just say hello to a few people, and then I'll try and catch up a little bit. Right, Jordan Lee is here. Have you seen the Multiple Black 4? Yes, it's an embarrassment. Red number 1 is here. How you doing, Red number 1? Dave Throws Time. Channel 2 is here. I'm so glad you're joining us. Solar Engine is here. Paul Toslin is here. What were 2? Oh my, I haven't even started yet. We're up to nobody new here yet. Going down. Okay, I'm trying to see if anybody's atting me at the same time. There we go. M is here. How you doing, M? Thank you for joining us. Mr. Jekyll and Hyde is there. Mark the Vicar, thank you for doing big decisions today. Rewatch Jodie or cut my feet off. Let's just say I'll save a packet on shoes. That is true. A wise man there. M, I think I said hello to you, Ray. I think just now, but I'll say it again. Matthew Burrows is here. Gareth Morgan is here. Waking up with a dead albatross. A dream weekend for this was described a dream weekend for Beavis and Butthead. New movie was Goodbye. Oh, what's that streaming on? I have to try and find it. Probably Disney. Everything's on bloody Disney. Where are we up to? There we say. We prefer to call the Biden retreat, Rabbi. Says M. Okay. I think the Biden regime is really exposing everything. It's great. But again, I think this is, I was very confused when January 6th happened, and every layer of authority like failed and crumbled. Waiting by the fire is here. Election was a scam. Michigan and Wisconsin graph proves. I would tend to agree with you, but I wouldn't. I'm not an election expert. I want to be very clear. Nor do I give medical or financial advice. Although, if you want to sign up my Substack, the good Lord may rain a joy upon you. I don't know what that means, but it sounds very sticky. DC is here. Thank you for joining us. I'm doing well. I think I'm up to PD Rich. PD Rich is here. Monk of Magnesia is here. How you doing, PD? I always think of Severance now every time I see you. Have you seen Severance there? Critical Blast?
I've seen the trailers for it. I have not watched it. That's the one where they get mind wiped when they go to work and mind wiped when they leave.
Sort of. It's a shame that you know that much. I knew nothing going in. It was better for it. It's very good. It's very, very, very good, right? But Ben's still a bit of a douchebag, obviously, but can direct a good movie. I'll say the same thing about Mel Gibson. Give him more work. What's the last thing I saw Mel Gibson in? Okay, Mel Gibson, to get out of trouble, right? He was going to do a movie about the Maccabees revolt. I was like, oh, yeah, everything's forgiven, right? That's fine. Yes. And then it fell through.
Oh, he can get. Last thing I saw him was Batman.
He was in Batman?
Fat Man. He played Santa Claus.
Oh, Fat Man. Fat Man was great. I love Fat Man.
That was brilliant.
1 second. Market Manini says, no, the worst thing they found on Hunter's laptop were all the likes he has for Trilby. Well, okay. It all makes sense. Sure. Fine. I've actually nearly caught up with the chat. I think, say hello to Paul Tosland. I'm 10 minutes out. Let me see where I am. Darren M. I think I said hello to you, Darren M. I don't know. Robert Payne is here. I'm not all here. Well, the bit of you's here. We're very glad it's here, right? Awfully happy it's here. Okay, we're caught up. Wonderful. Tell me about this Indiegogo you got.
So, when I first formed Critical Blast, it was just going to be a review website. And then suddenly we're doing podcasts. And then suddenly we're doing distribution. And along the way, we began publishing books. So we have put out 3 anthologies so far. The first one was called Gods and Services. It's available on Amazon. It's a little pop-up store that sells goods and services. And the little O has fallen off of the cardboard sign that they have. And the trope was that you walk in, you buy a piece of junk, some little thing to put on your knick-knack shelf, and it comes with a god. And because you've made munificence to it by way of purchase, that god is now obligated to make your life better, whether you want it to or not.
It sounds like Neil Gaiman found a pitch that Rod Serling wrote in 1974.
It was actually based on a Tony Randall Burl Ives movie called The Brass Bottle, where he gets a genie bottle, and the genie keeps trying to make his life better, and he keeps saying, please leave me alone, you're making things worse.
Okay.
Then we did,
so that was your first one, and this is your third one?
This is the third one. This is the follow-up to The Devil You Know, which was just a collection of stories with, I said, hey, have somebody encounter the devil. It can be a contract signing, it can be sitting down for coffee, sit next to him on a subway, whatever. It just has to be, one-on-one with, the adversary, so to speak. And it can be any genre. It can be horror, it can be comedy, it can be folktale, and that's what we got. And one of the things that I've wanted to do, even since Gods and Services, was I wanted to have first-time writers put in, quality stuff where they have a shot to get published. But I also have these connections through all the reviews I've done with authors who, are Scholastic authors, Simon & Schuster authors, to where I can say, hey, would you submit something and help support our little small press project? So that these first-time writers can say, hey, look, I got published, and I'm published with, and point to these names to, kind of build up their resume. And it's been working. I've seen them, show up now in other books. Since
so this is the, was it a gateway?
Yes, exactly. So with this book here,
this one is,
this is the same way. I got Mike Barron and Hart Fisher to sign on as contributors. Nice. So they're in there, and we got another 20.
The theme of this one?
The theme of this book is the same as The Devil You Know, which was just, people encounter the devil. You're going to have a one-on-one. He's going to either, terrify you. He's going to cry on your shoulder. We have science fiction. We have comedy. It's all kinds of stories.
It sounds so cool, right? I wish they would just do a TV show like this. Like inventive.
Well, they did Lucifer, remember?
Was that? Yeah, you know what one was really good? Remember Brimstone?
I do remember Brimstone.
It lasted like 14 episodes. Okay, the premise of Brimstone was a cop killed the person who raped and murdered his wife, and he was sent to hell. And then in hell had a breakout of 113 of the worst people, right? And the cop was sent back to Earth like 10 years later, right? To round after he died, to round up all the people, right? And so each episode he was chasing one soul. It's so weird, psychological, like creepy stuff with that. But it also had Julian Glover playing Satan was great in it.
Yeah, they did a similar plot premise, although more of a comedy, a slacker comedy with Reaper. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
Reaper was a young guy, turns 21, and it turns out that his father made a deal with the devil, played by Ray Wise.
Oh, yeah, I have heard of it. I know, yeah, because it sounded like what's it called again? Dead Like Me.
Yeah, because his father made a deal with the devil, but sold his son's soul, and the son's obligation is to do the hunting down of souls and take them to the DMV, because that's the gateway to hell.
I think one of the big tragedies of the universe we're living in, I want to go to the alternate universe, that Brian Fuller didn't stay on and run Star Trek Discovery. Wouldn't you love to have seen his Star Trek? It would have been awesome.
But
never mind. No. So anyway, what was it? What you got one tier. That's going to be quick to go through.
Very quick. Yeah. I mean, the soft cover of this thing, we've already published it. It's on Amazon. Been there for 3 to 4 weeks now. But this is something we've never done before. This is a hardcover version of that. It's going to be limited to however many are ordered. That's it. We'll round it up to the next 10, level. If you want to order an odd number.
Look, it looks like something that you want to hardback of, right? It's got that nice form factor. You want to put that. Paperbacks I get are easy to read, but I think are you doing all of them in hardback?
No, we're just doing this one in hardback.
I will go back and do the other two as well.
Maybe I should, because it's 2 years old. I didn't know if I should, but
I think you should.
I'll see if I can get some signatures. Mike and Hart are going to sign this, and it's
nice.
One of however, 2 of however many, and it's not going to go in demand when we extend this into the next 30 days.
It's done.
Yeah.
Cool. So, how many pages? I mean, how many stories do you have in this?
It's 20 stories, and we don't know how many pages because
you have to paginate it, though. I guess.
And it's already paginated to fit the new hardback format. But as you saw the map there, the 9 circles of Dante's Inferno, as we cross every $500 USD marker, we will have one of the stories get an illustration. By Stefano.
So you're pushing for your first 500.
Yes.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like a good book to read, I think this sounds fun. You're helping first-time authors. You're enjoying it, and you're being meritorious. All together now. You're giving your brother a helping hand, right? I love this like Wicker Man like style graphic you got here. You ever seen the Wicker Man? Love that movie.
I have. Yeah, that came to us from the Global Frequency channel. They helped us out with the design of the campaign.
Oh, yeah, no, they're great. That campaign did very well, didn't it? The mech one?
Mavericks. Yeah, the Mavericks.
Yeah, I was happy to see it. It looked nice, right? Looked like it was a good book.
Very cool campaign. But, in fact, if you play the video, and I don't care if you do or you don't, you're up to you, it's your show. But you'll see 2 of the Stefano Cartacelli images in the video.
Oh, you got Stefano? I've worked with Stefano a bunch of times. Yeah, we'll play the video.
We've crossed paths more than once. I've whispered in your ear, shown you harmless little temptations. I am unknowable, yet you know me intimately. But you can always know me better. Collected here are 20 twisted tales that will thrill, chill, incite and delight you from some of the most imaginative minds your species has to offer. This exclusive Indiegogo printing of The Devil You Know Better will be limited and numbered, with signatures from Mike Barron and Hart D. Fisher. Stretch goals achieved for this campaign will add interior chapter illustrations by Stefano Cardacelli.
Oh, Stefano's great.
The Devil You Know Better.
Yeah,
Back
he is.
on Indiegogo today, while you still can.
I always thought if I ever started making money off my Substack, which I doubt I will, but if I ever did, I would. The first thing I would plow it back into. I did a strip with him called Ice Warriors. I'll do like another batch of 10 with him. But I love Stefano. Yeah, Stefano's awesome.
Yeah, those were my dulcet tones doing the voiceover, by the way.
Very good. You treated your voice well. Great. Okay, so you got 10 days left. Guys, get yourself a book.
Anthologies.
Sorry?
The lovely thing about anthologies is you can just pick a story anywhere. They don't tie together. You can.
Honestly, I prefer them. I got a bunch of the short trip books, and I just like I read a story every. They're the Doctor Who anthologies, right? I do. Yeah, I do like that. That's what number one says. Rossley Dale shooting guy. Did you watch Doctor Who? Are you up to date Doctor Who? It's not crazy.
They just put Doctor Who, the new Who, on HBO Max. So I went back and started from the beginning with his name Eccleston, because I'd never seen any of the Ecclestons before. So it was all new to me, and I'm like,
they're like looking at how to make it as they do it.
Yeah, I love the Eccleston run. So now I'm into the Tennant runs.
So are you excited for RTD2 or not?
Yeah, I would like to see him. I did not care for the writing under the latest Doctor Who, and it's interesting. I did an interview with Jodie Hauser about the comic that she was writing, and I was allowed to send 10 questions, and one of the questions was basically, why is the new Doctor Who so anti-gun? Because she keeps mentioning it in all the episodes. Like, what did something happen? Is there a story point here? And it's the only question of the entire set that the BBC struck. They wouldn't allow an answer for it.
Okay. What can you do? Fine. So look, I got a classic Doctor Who story. I'm going in for now. Do you want to stay for it, or do you want to head on off?
I will stay for a little while. I do need to go to a medical appointment. I know it's Sunday, but
good day.
I feed my campaigns by donating plasma. That's how I make money to keep my campaigns.
Okay. So let me find a picture of this companion. So you get you get an idea of why I'm so obsessed. So Nicola Bryant, a very attractive young girl, I think 21, 22. They squeezed her into spandex, and there's a whole story behind this now, which I just heard on the there's a new Blu-ray they just put out. Man, this is funnier now. I that I know the context. I'm grabbing a bunch of photos, but she was kind of like the Farrah Fawcett of like the mid '80s. If you're a sci-fi geek. Yeah, 1 second, I'm trying to grab the pictures. Come on. Hang on. There's that one. This one's a good one. Yeah, this is a very traditional Perry outfit.
Perry, that's the name I was trying to think of. I was like, she was one of the companions. Which one was she? Because I was watching them in college back in the late 80s.
Oh, yeah. Well, that she's one that you would remember. 1 second. I'll grab another picture. Let me see. I'm trying to find a more.
She's the one in that one scene where Colin was behind a boulder biting her on the ass.
Yeah, probably.
No, she talked about it. She's like, here's my expression as Colin bites me on my rump.
Yeah, no, let's say just we go. Just there's that. So the Blu-ray box set. I just have it in the other room. A Blu-ray box set just came out of season 22, which is her second season, which she did in it was 1985. So this was prime Rabbi awakening time. Shall we say? I'm just pulling up these pictures. Doink. And she made an awfully strong impression on me. This young lady, quite healthy, as you're about to see. Come on, is it opening up yet? Here we go. Quite healthy, as you're about to see. There you go. Share screen. So what happened was, this was her first acting job. Like, she hadn't even done theater before, right? She hadn't done anything before. And so she basically just did whatever she was told, right? She was like, okay. So she was wearing all the like baggy sweaters and stuff for the auditions, because the character was supposed to be this American college student. And so she dressed like, she pretended to be American, right? This was her first publicity pictures. She pretended to be American and got the job that way. And she kind of faked it, right? And it was a while later that people found out that she wasn't. But again, she's like 19 or something here. So when they came to the first photo shoot, John Nathan Turner, who was the producer at the time, really wanted to mold her because he discovered her, right? She was like his property sort of thing. I mean, they were friends, and she did say, "Look, John adored me," and he did, right? On the Ferris's, how you doing? They said John adored me, and he did, right? He absolutely did. There's a very good book called "The Life and Scandalous Times of John Nathan Turner," right? But he very much controlled Nicola Bryant and like put her in these like really tight outfits. So he said, "Do you have anything like short skirts or like for the?" And so they. Basically, he made her wear a leotard and shorts for this, and he's like, "Oh, that's a good image. We're going to stick with that." This is how she ended up on screen. Made a real impression on me, as I said, as a sexual weakling bloomed. Anyways, these
making a couple of impressions.
Yes, this incredible. So before the photo shoot. She said, yeah, back in the days you had like rolls of cotton, like cotton wool, right? So he passed it and said, just for a bit of padding. He's like, he hadn't seen her with a baggy top, and he said, I don't think I'm going to need that, right? I think I was going to be fine. Zoom in on that one a bit. Well, she also did like lots of bikini photo shoots that John Nathan Turner made her do, and this guy was very gay. Like, he wasn't trying to sleep with her; he was super gay, right? But she was like his product, right? So we just had this whole little thing go down where she gave the Blu-ray box sets they do have these incredible interviews in them, like these in-depth interviews with this guy called Matthew Sweet, very, very smart guy, right? So he's interviewing her, and she apparently got in trouble because she talked about this time when she did say those stuff. She was. Do you know what Panto is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Panto is a real English tradition where you get like they get TV stars go and do these little plays, these song and dance plays, like Aladdin or Cinderella or something like that, these like fairy stories, and they interact with the audience. They do them around Christmas time. Right, they normally run for like 2 or 3 weeks. Panto, right? Pantomime, but you call pantomime. And it's like there's all these different things. You go behind you, and they like turn around slowly. It's like it really is this incredible audience interaction. It's a lot of fun. So John Nathan Turner made pantos. It was his thing, right? Like in his off season, and he always had like Doctor Who, Colin Baker star in it, right? So he wanted Nicola to star in Cinderella. And she was like, look, I'm doing 18-hour days. I don't think I have time for like 2 shows a week for another 6. I don't think I can do it. So she told her agent, and John Nathan was pissed, like super, super pissed, right? And they put it, and said, so, they also like, so what happened with that? I said, I put it behind me, just like he did, right? He was like, Nicola, your agent was very silly advising you not to. And they told me that I had to do the panto. So she did did the panto. But here's the interesting thing. The story comes up because around that time, there was this TV show called Jim Will Fix It, where this guy called Jimmy Savile would have little children. They'll sit on his knee, and they'll tell him what their wish was. Oh, yes. And Jimmy will fix it for them. And one of them, had the wish to be in Doctor Who, right? Now, Jimmy Savile, as you may know, turned out to be a massive paedophile, right? The most disgusting paedophile you could imagine. So anyway, but one day they want to made a mini episode of Doctor Who with the Sontarans, but as a punishment to Nicola, she wasn't in it. They put Janet Fielding in it. So anyway, the previous companion. So then she had to talk about this on Twitter. So that's where we're finally up to the story. I gave you the background. There's a lot of background there. 1 second, let's get to the twats. Is this the one? Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. There you go. So this is Nicola's Twitter. Starts off with this thread. When a woman goes on record and tells you the truth about bullying or other issues in the workplace, there are always people ready to rationalize, discard their account. So here's the weird thing. What she described was bullying. Absolutely, right? Or other issues in the workplace. It was definitely John Nathan Turner controlling her, right? And making her do things she didn't want to do, right? That's 100. I think that's absolutely. But they had this weird relationship where they loved each other. And this is the interesting thing here, right? So the people ready to rationalize, discard their account. No, I think John was probably wrong to do that. Or when they, long after the event, they say the memory cheat. So she has to keep defending herself. So I don't know what happened to cause this, but of course, JNT waited until I finished pantomime and filming season 22 before telling me I wouldn't be on Jim or Fix It. This makes complete sense if you actually think about it. I was told directly to my face, okay, by JNT, I would not be doing the show and that he would be getting Janet because she doesn't say no to things. The implication of the words were clear, right? Yeah, listen, John, this is all probably real, right? I was so upset by this. My then husband booked us a last-minute vacation to a last-minute holiday to Venice. Was then used by JNT as an official reason I was not taking the part. We went to Carnival where I could easily hide behind the mask so nobody could recognize me. Nobody could recognize me and we could be a couple. Sorry, Janet Fielding, to have associated with this time storm in a teacup. I'm sure you understand. Look, it's what JNT was, right? But yeah, this is PANTO-GATE, right? We're calling it PANTO-GATE. Yeah, I wonder what happened, right? I wonder what went to, I wonder why people started slagging off about this. It's a great interview. Box set's fantastic. I can't wait to start reviewing it. Right, I'm planning through the first disc right now. But yeah, this is very very much PANTO-GATE. So, have you enjoyed your little look into classic Doctor Who?
I love classic Doctor Who. I mean, my introduction was over here. We have Public Broadcast System, which is one of the channels that's public supported, and that was where Doctor Who would run. I was like 11, 12 years old, already a geek. I mean, I was fully into the comics and the sci-fi shows and the cartoons on Saturday morning. And I'm just flipping through and I go past Channel 9, it was PBS, and there was Tom Baker, and he's fighting some light monster. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, that's a strip of saran wrap in the doorway with a light shining on it, and they're shaking.
Right. Oh, that's cool. They're probably the Paladins as they're fighting.
Yeah, but I was fascinated by it. Oh, it's time travel and it's spaceships, and yeah, I'm going to watch this.
It's so weird. Doctor Who is so weird, right? Doctor Who is all about contradictions, right? He's very egalitarian, but he wants you to know he's in charge, right? He's like, you know, he's an anti-authoritarian authority, right? Everything about him is a contradiction.
We can change anything in time except where we are right now.
Sorry?
We can change anything in time except where we are right now.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I'll say, written number 1 says, Andrew was the best companion. I'm not sure. Soda Engines mentions that Perry dodged a bullet by not being Jim or Fix It. Yes, she did. Man. Have you ever seen, was it Johnny Rotten or Johnny Lydon wanting to spill the beans on live TV?
No.
You could see him holding back. You can really see him holding it. Let me pull it up. That's worth looking at. It's really like when they talk about Jimmy, they said, there's people going on. Here, 1 second. I was opening up YouTube. Johnny Rotten.
British television is very limited. I've seen like mini Doctor Who, some Are You Being Served, some Faulty Towers, the IT Crowd on DVD, and something called Chef, an episode at one point.
Oh, Chef, yeah, Chef's a little bit weird, but where is this? I think it's in this clip here. Let me pull it up.
Completely turned left field here. An unbroadcast section of a BBC radio interview you did in 1978 recently came to light, included on a pill album. And you were talking about making a film where you kill famous people. It's never been played on television before, but it has a particular relevance. Let's listen to this.
So who else is on the gone list?
Oh, it's endless, believe me. I just want to make a film of him. On film, I'd like to kill Jimmy Savile. I think he's a hypocrite.
Wasn't I right?
Yeah, you were, mate. Tell you, he's really on the. Like, I got a lot of respect for Johnny Lydon. John Lydon. I think he's one of the most important artists alive today. Yeah, you were, mate.
Serious. We all know about, we're not allowed to talk about. I don't see rumours. I bet none of this will be allowed out.
I can imagine libel stuff would be like that.
Nothing I said is libel.
Yeah, that's not the clip I was thinking of, though. Like you can see he was on like this music show. Yeah, let's see if we can find Johnny Rotten interview. Interview Jimmy Savile. Let's see if it comes up. It's a really good clip if I can find it. No, I can't. It's a shame. It might be this one. It might be this one, but I don't know. I don't know. Here, I'll put it another time. Fine. Listen, I have to move on. There's actually things I need to get to. What are we going to do first? Orville or Strange New Worlds? Are you watching Strange New Worlds?
I have not watched any Strange New Worlds.
It's very good. I have to tell you, it's actually a real start. I'm amazed. It's not perfect. There's a couple of problems with it, but I'm really enjoying it. I particularly like this week's episode. Do you want to stay for it, or do you want to go?
I actually do have to go, or I'm going to miss my appointment. I got to drive an hour to it.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, thank you for joining us. Please check out your Sorry?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. You only got another 10 days to get the book. You want the hardcover. It's worth it, baby. It's worth it. That's what I would say.
Only $25 US.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty reasonable.
Thank you again. Appreciate you, and have a good day.
You too, sir. You too. Thank you for joining us. Fine. Let's should we do the one I like first, one I don't like? Now we're going to start with Star Trek, I think. We really got to A-B this, right? Yeah, we'll start with Star Trek. Okay. Why are we starting with Star Trek? I'll tell you why we're starting with Star Trek. Because I really want to A-B Star Trek and the Orville. We live in an upside-down, topsy-turvy world. I mean, we really genuinely do. They spoke of 4 horsemen that were going to stalk across the apocalypse. Famine, disease, pestilence, and war. Yeah, they're all going. They're all going, mate. But the other weird thing is this. That the show we thought would be shit, I found delightful. I found genuinely Star Trek-y. And the show that I thought was Star Trek, I think has jumped the shark. I hope it jumps back. But this week's episode, I thought was terrible. Anyway, this episode I thought was great. People hate this episode, but I think this is prime, perfect Star Trek. It's all right, is it? It actually feels a little bit more Star Trek written by a very clever AI who's seen all of the original series, right? Rabbi's catnip first. Yes, you are correct. So hey, we start with this week's episode with the big whooshy, whoa, wish. Now, again, don't do drugs, kids, but this is clearly designed to be off your tree. Why are you watching? It really is. Whoa! Like whoa! There you go. And again, I'm watching this on my big screen, like I've got a 60-inch HD. I download it in 4K because I freaking love the visuals. Like this looks a bit more milky because I turn up the gamma so you guys can see everything properly. But like you get this beautiful beauty pass of the Enterprise. Oh, it's so good, right? They do that so well. And we're starting off with Dr. M'Benga, who I like a lot. Now, again, I put this in its own universe. It's not. They keep trying to tie it to Discovery. I keep them to shut up, focus on themselves because they're good. So this is one of the good characters, Dr. M'Benga. I like him a lot. I don't know if it's the writing or the performance. I think the performance has been excellent. Right, I really like his performance. I think this is one of the standout characters in the show. And he's got this long running storyline with his daughter. Essentially, his daughter's going to die. She's got this degenerative disease, so he's been keeping her in the transporter buffer, right? And because he's going, when no man's gone before, he's looking to find M'Benga. I'll call him Mr. Bender. Hello, Bender. She can't be out for too long because she'll start to degenerate the more she's out. So he's hoping he's going to bump in some aliens that will be able to find a cure for her, right? And things are getting a bit desperate. He was put in the right direction by the aliens a few weeks ago, but didn't really work out, right? So she's like, "Oh, do I need to go back?" Yeah. Oh, the whole episode is about him reading this storybook, and you see like the characters in it as they read the storybook. And she likes it, and she wants to change the ending. She wants these people to like team up and defeat the bad guys. But it doesn't go that way. Well, we should just change the story, right? And again, I find that quite a clever idea, right? I find that quite a clever, quite a clever way of introducing an idea that you can change the story, right? There you go, doink. So he's like, but that doesn't work that way. And he's very stuck with science, and he beams her up. And then he goes furiously trying to do science, being sciencey. Da, 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 da. This is actually kind of cool. He does something, and it causes a little explosion. And you see a containment field comes up. And he's working, and number one comes and says, look, you haven't cleared the people, right? That have been on the shuttle or some stuff, right? You haven't done that. He said, I'm sorry, I've been working this, I gotta work. Meanwhile, they're in this they're in a strange new world, right? They're in this weird bit of space doing Star Trek-y shit, being Star Trek-y, right? I like Pike. I like his like mellow, laid-back attitude. I like it, I'm enjoying that. I don't like Lieutenant Ortega, right? She annoys the crap out of me. She's a major part of this episode. Right, she's a bloke that he casts a woman for to make a point. It's ridiculous, right? Freed concubine slave, says DC. What are you talking about? Who gets mysteriously called by a nebula, very Farscape, if you ask me. I don't know. Okay, well, I like Farscape as well. Farscape's awesome. But yeah, I can't stand this character. It's a really weak character because it's an average actress on a part that's paper thin and doesn't work. This is basically a cheeky, like Chekhov, like an Italian Chekhov. That's who it is, a horny Italian Chekhov. That's basically it is. So they try and leave, and they cut, and they're stuck. So they call up the chief engineer. Like this character too. The only one I really don't like is Lieutenant Latinx lesbian. Right, I really don't like her. Right. He's like, well, the engineer, the warp drive's going okay. Why aren't we moving? So he presses the go button again, and he goes, no! And they're thrown across the room. Da, da, da. And it's like he calls to, was it M'Benga? Bender. Hello, Bender. Get down to the bridge. Oh yeah, because the number one made him go and have a nap. So he goes, bridge. And he goes and bridge. It's weirdly changed and different, right? And you're like, is this some kind of hallucination he's having? And he's like, and then you kind of realize that it's real. And all the characters have changed identities. So you got the captain is now this like foofy coward guy. He realizes it's this guy from the story. And you're into the titles, right? If only the music was better on the titles. But I love those impulse engines. Oh, man, those impulse engines shouldn't make me warm and tingly, but they do. They do. Oh, a bit of the flickage. And again, nasals. It's just gorgeous. It's all gorgeous. And then whooshy. And again, don't do drugs, kids. But it would be awesome if you did. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then, oh yeah, look, we've got this great shot with the Enterprise, and we see the grills. Oh, I love the grills. It's so cool. Whoosh as it goes. And then whoosh, straight to well, da, 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 but the music's very bland. So this is I'm trying to work out, what is this, like a Q episode? Right? It is a Q-like episode. Is it silly? Is it serious? It's a bit of everything. Does the tone gel? Actually, it doesn't. That's my criticism of the episode. The tone doesn't really gel that well. The two direct, like this sort of silly, the inherent silliness of the fairy tale book is being imposed on the, even though it's a serious thing being imposed on it, it lightens it, right? So he's the king, and there's like, what's going on? Oh, I went the wrong way. I'm sorry. So he's the king. And oh yeah, it's so annoying. This male character is Lieutenant Lesbian, who's a swordsman, and he works out he's in the story, and he's trying to work out if he's hallucinating or if something's like altered the reality. And so he goes to check the computer, and he says system analysis. Everything's fine, baby. Everything's fine. It's not everything's fine. Everyone's crazy. He says, okay, fine. I got to go back to my office. Yeah, he's got to go back to sickbay to work out what's going on. And the whole ship has changed. And again, the lightness of it doesn't really convey the horror of it, which is, I think those are the two things are pulling against each other, right? So then, we get Nurse Chapel, who is so hot. Okay, listen, I understand I'm being very superficial. Like, it looks pretty. And Nurse Chapel's hot. It looks pretty, right? I understand I'm being superficial, but they're so hot. What do you want out of me? Oh, she's in a different outfit. We could have seen a bit of leg. That would have been better. But what can you do? She's actually a good actress, right? I like her performance. Or maybe I just want to sleep with her. I can't tell. But I do like her performance. So she scans his aura, and he scans it with his woo, woo, woo. So he's still got his memory. He's still him, right? And not everybody else has these other characters imprinted on them. And then she says, this other person's coming up. And it's the security chief, who is surprisingly buxom. And she's like a big she's complaining about the villain who's down below, who's like stopping people go there. And she's just generally speaking very buxom, and looks quite a bit taller now. And also we got Nurse Chapel there. I think this could really work out well. She's very good because she actually conveys a different character. Although I think she's a very good actress, this woman, right? I've seen her in a bunch of things. She just keeps getting cast in similar roles, but I really like her doing something different with this. And again, more Nurse Chapel, the better, in my mind. But lesbian Latinx, Lieutenant Lesbian Latinx, you can go. So they're going to go confront the bad guys. Meanwhile, the engineer still has his memory, still knows. He's the only person who knows who he is. He's like, what's going on? And I think she was the helmswoman. And they're, again, very jiggly, liking the strapless dress. It's working for me, baby. He's like, you know what's going on? I said, okay, you're the only person who knows what's going on. You're supposed to be this character. She's a bit snarly, and they take him to the evil people, right? So we need. The reason he's the king is because he's got control of this magic thing, right? This magic. He says, but yeah, I don't have it. Only he knows where it is. We got to go find it. So they sit and they try. They have a conference and they tell her basically to stay there. Right, which is a shame because she's very booby. And she has a fight with she meets Spock, who's this other character, and he's like an evil character, and he shows them a secret path which is the Jeffries tube. They're using this set a lot, this Jeffries tube, and I like they're using it a lot. But I don't remember seeing it in the first few episodes. I love this Jeffries tube, right? Poppy's jokes. It's an Obsidian Curse. But you can. Look, you put this Jeffries tube in something, I'm going to like it. It's just the way it is. So you meet the big villain. It's was it Uhuru? It was okay. She looks hot in this at last. They really need to like sexy her up a look. Give her a bit of hair. Next season, give her some hair. All right, and she's quite good at the scary thing. And he's scared, and they get put in jail, and he's like freaking out. I think they're in the transporter room, right? And so he gets to talk to the chief engineer, and he's like, because he's like kind of psychic, so he has like psychic abilities as well. That's probably, he said he felt an entity pressing down upon them, and he resisted. Right, so they're definitely having these personalities stamped upon them. He said, "I got my magic wand," and he starts, he breaks everybody out, and oh God, I can't stand her. And they got out. She's all mad. They go looking for her and said, "Don't worry, I will find them." And they catch them when they're going to his room, I think. Right, I can't remember. No, they're going back to sick bay. And then number one shows up, and she's the huntress. And it's a kind of weird lesbian fantasy thing going on over here. Maybe just in my head, right? Maybe just in my head. And they go to engineering. I love the engineering set, okay? I freaking love this engineering set. I think it's really cool. Fine. So they're trying to work out what to do. And was it? They say they got to go. They say that somehow they work out that his daughter's not in the buffer, right? He goes to jet and she's gone, like somebody beamed her out. And it says that happened the minute this happened, right? The moment before this happened. So something's going on. So they're all freaking out trying to find his daughter. And so the daughter is the MacGuffin they're looking for now, and he make him be a traitor. And Nurse Chapel is hot, super crazy hot. Now we're getting a lesbian fantasy with Nurse Chapel and lesbian Latinx. So they're trying to work out where his daughter could be. Where would she go? She talks about being able to leave sick bay and go to his rooms or something. So he goes, "Oh, she must be there, right?" So he goes to his room. But yeah, he goes to the next slides. Doink. Right, but they meet the captain, who turns out to be who's been forced to be a traitor, and they're caught. And they said, "Listen, we just got to get in there, and then everything's going to make sense." But they won't listen. And then so the engineer does this whole thing where he's like a magician. He's like, "Oh!" And he does this weird, like, I kind of like it. And he presses the button, and they all get beamed up. He said, "Abracadabra." So then he goes in the room and he meets his daughter. So I really choke up at this bit, by the way. This whole next thing, I end up crying, genuinely crying, because the emotion I felt was real. So he's desperate. So now we've had the whole silly thing over. Now we're into the real meat of the story, right? And it was just a little bit too, again, surely, right, with this weird bit tacked on, doesn't really work. But this weird bit is very good. So he meets his daughter, and his daughter's been playing with this entity who set this whole thing up for her. So you can play, and then they and she scans that she doesn't have that disease anymore, right? And she's trying to work out what's going on. And this guy who's somewhat psychic can let the entity use him as a vessel. So they talk to him and says, "You can't let the girl go. She'll get her disease back. She'll die," right? That's why he's holding them there, right? The entity's holding them there. So she doesn't die, right? He says, "But we gotta go, right? You can't keep the whole crew. It's cruel." So they basically come up with the idea that she the only option is she can stay here. He's like, "But what?" And it's like, "Yeah, she'll become like an entity like me, and we can be together." And it's the only option to save her life, right? Because she's basically going to die, right? Dude, Space 99 Series 2 was awesome. Solder Engine does like Space 99 Series 2. That's awesome. What are you talking about? It's a big cat. I liked it. I think that's why I like this. What do you want me to tell you? So yeah, so he has this real emotional wrench that he's got to let his daughter go because otherwise she's going to die, right? And so he's got to say goodbye to her. He spent his whole life like trying to rescue, and this is the only opportunity they have, right? And she becomes a Star Trek entity and vanishes, right? And it's like he's left alone, and it's like there's real grief. I think this is very clever. So then there's a bit of a cop out, but I'm a big softie. I liked it, right? I like the cop out. Then all of a sudden, right there, his daughter comes back, and it's 20 years later for her, right? And said, "You save me," and it's like kind of softens the blow. But basically, she says you got to live your life, right? And I hope they come back and they see each other, right? Or they visit each other again, and then they're all gone. I just found that. Again, I got daughters. I found this very moving, right? I found it really genuinely moving. And so nobody in the crew knows what happens apart from him. And he says his daughter's gone, and they got a missing 5 hours. He said, you know what happens? It is a great story. And it's a great, I think it was a great story, right? I think this was very Star Trek-y, right? It had all the Star Trek-y elements. I don't think it gelled. I think the story was too, again, lightweight. They should have done something, made it a bit scarier, right? A bit more Games of Thrones-y, maybe. I don't know. Like a bit more real. That probably would have worked better. But I'm still liking this series. Honestly, I think it's a success. I do. I think it's a success. And I'm very disappointed. Let's go over here. Doink. I'm very disappointed over here with the Orville. To me, this episode was very dated cringe, right? It was like Trump derangement syndrome on steroids, right? And it's so dated now. Like I opened the show going on about how people believe things that aren't real, and this is a great example of it. So over on Krill, we have a Trump rally, and it's so poor. Like, as I'm saying it, my eyes are drooping. It's like, oh, we have a Trump rally. And it's what Seth MacFarlane thinks a Trump rally is. And it looks just kind of cheap. I hate to say it. I know they're putting a ton of money into it, but it also looks just kind of cheap. And they're like, yeah, we hate everybody. Xenophobes, kill everyone else. If it kills us, we'll kill everybody else. And it says, it's such a ridiculous view of what people who don't share your worldview looks like, right? The idea that anybody who doesn't agree with you is evil might mean that you're evil, right? I'm just sick of it, quite frankly. I think most people are, right? I think most people are. It's a real disappointment. And it's really toned down to Seth MacFarlane. And it also shows you that maybe Fox was the thing making it good, not Seth MacFarlane, right? Fox controlling Seth MacFarlane made it good. Because this is just idiotic. Like, no, it's not like that. Nobody hates anybody, apart from you leftists hates everybody. We're not like you. They don't want to have open borders because they hate Mexicans, you moron. They don't want to have open borders because they love Americans of any color, right? And that's just the reality. But the truth is, again, these liberals, they all are really racist, right? And they think, oh, but I'm overcoming my racism, right? I mean, it's normally liberal women that wouldn't date black men, right? And then they feel bad about it, and so they become super liberal. And I'm like, this was also his girlfriend in a previous episode. I'm just watching the game. God help me. Anyway, so after the rally, we have the titles, and yeah, they put a lot of money into it, and it's a bit indulgent. But I'm sorry, don't even your visuals don't even come close to Strange New Worlds, right? This is just leaving me flat. And I used to really love this, right? I was so looking forward to the show coming back. So over in the city, and again, we're saying, oh, you don't have to keep the original look for the characters. And I hear that. I do hear that. But, like, you've got to keep some kind of connection to it, right? When you find, like, if you took Annie and you made it somebody who was ball player, it wouldn't be Annie. Look, looks like whoever's with the weird head playing Daddy Warbucks has that right vibe, right? Has that right vibe. And it looks like there's a krill in there. How's there a krill child in there? That's weird. That shouldn't be. And so the krill are there. It's a delegation. They're watching the this thing, and that's the president of the union. I haven't seen him before. But again, the alien's a bit meh. I like the krill, and they clap, and they're having this like diplomatic dinner, and they're about to sign this big peace treaty, right? Because the joint threat of the Kalon has brought them together. And they're all, yeah, he says, so, you can sign the peace treaty on election night when I win again. Oh, I can't see what's going to happen. Oh, honestly, here's what they should do. If you have a head injury, they should play the first 5 minutes of this, and he can ask you, what do you think is going to happen, right? If they don't know, so you got to send them to hospital. This is so obvious, right? Oh. Meanwhile, in the holodeck, Seth MacFarlane's new girlfriend is part of the crew. Borders, we see him for 10 seconds, and Borders is great. Oh, more Borders. I want the Borders spin-off show, right? And they reference, do you remember that funny joke we did a year, about 4 years ago? That looks like it. Yeah, how about doing a few more of those, Seth? Right? A few more jokes. And there's a point where they do a joke in this episode, and it's good. Right, but like now you're referencing when you were good. It's not good. So anyway, hi, I'm Seth MacFarlane's new girlfriend. She looks exactly like the other person who was on the show, and then he booted off. Right, Seth, it's not looking good for you, mate. Right, we were giving you a path, but this one really isn't working out well for you. So yeah, they're doing Western stuff. And then in walks Isaac. And isn't very good at doing it. And she's like, well, it's fun while it lasted, and she's going to leave. She hates him. He's like, whoa. And then they get a call. They got to get an urgent call, right? Urgent call. And they get a call from, Admiral Pussy, whatever his name is. I can't remember. He's slightly less of a pussy than Admiral Pussy from Discovery, right? I mean, okay. Comparing this to Discovery is not even close. Right? This or Picard. This is a billion times better than Picard and a billion times better than Discovery, right? It's not saying much. So anyway, Admiral Puss is there saying they've asked you to be the people who bring the delegation to Krill. And he says, well, that was great. It was fantastic news. And they couldn't tell that we were drunk. Which I like. They actually had a joke. Oh, yeah, we like enough to set a joke. So then the shuttle arrives, and in walks the delegation. And they're all happy to see him. They have an honor guard. One guy, and they can't all face the same direction. This is a bit weird, but okay. Tesha sticks a guard too. I mean, it was good for the first 2 seasons. So he tells it, you got a bad situation about this. This is this woman who infiltrated, pretended to be human. They had a date. They were dating each other. They were intimate, and it's Trump rally. Oh no, Trump rally! And he goes, she a threat. They assure us not that she can't win. Really? I wonder if this is going to be an allegory for something. It's so obvious. Oh, and I know that's what you look like in 2016. And honestly, yeah, we have to. If you could treat yourself like you treated other people, right? And you could be, if you were suspicious of the 2016 election, and you think anybody suspicious of the 2020 election is a yokel, I don't think you're being intellectually honest. So then he does more research, and he sees there's fake news being posted about the other guy like firing on everybody, says that's not real, and it's like, but people download it, think it's real. Dude, it's not fake fucking news. I don't know what I want to tell you. How many things do you think is fake news? Was Jesse Smollett fake news? No. I mean, it wasn't fake when you said he was attacked. Yes, that was fake news, right? Yeah, it's all been like, was there Russian collusion? No. Did Biden collude with Ukraine to? Did Biden force Ukraine to fire a prosecutor looking into a company he was financially profiting from directly? Did that happen? Yes. That's in between the pictures of your son smoking crack and sending porn links to each other. Freaking pervs. You know, I want to tell you. So anyway, oh god. So I mean, this is not what I want when I watch Star Trek. I haven't had this shit with Strange New Worlds, right? I haven't had this with Orville much either. But okay, fine. So they meet the krill ships and they go and they take off. Stop. Come on. There you go. Hi, I'm Seth MacFarlane's boyfriend, a girlfriend. And she flies the ship. I say, even the set looks like kind of cheap to me. And they rebuild it from scratch, and it just doesn't hold up. Again, comparing it to Strange New Worlds. And for some reason, he's piloting it, and there's no seats. Everybody's got to stand up. Like, what's wrong with these people? So it's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. You know how much I know? I knew you were drunk. Okay, sir. So they fly down through the cloud cover to Krill, and they land. Whoa! We're the first humans on Krill. And they tell Lieutenant Girlfriend to come with them. And they see the statue of Avis. And again, it's such a cartoon view of people who believe in religion. So he's there to watch the results. So they say, first let's try a delicacy, all blood juice, and they like it. And they're watching the results come in, but it's not going well. Oh my God, he loses, and the other one wins. What a shock. No. And they said, but if we destroy each other, the Kalon will kill us both. What will we do? It's no good. They come and arrest him, but then they also arrest the Orville crew, not the Orville crew, the delegation, and they like push him to the ground. They kick this president, they smack him to the ground, right, and then they take them into custody, and all of a sudden they put a tractor beam on the Orville, and you get this pretty good fight sequence, right? And again, you know, I'm looking at this and I think of the engine room and Strange New Worlds. It's not even close. It really isn't. All right. This just doesn't feel. I mean, the floor, I think maybe a metal floor or something. It just doesn't feel. It feels fake. And again, it's better than Discovery. Yes. But very disappointing. Right now, they've gone into Trump derangement syndrome in this episode, which they really have done. It loses the pass it gets on everything. Now, I'm going to be. I hope next week is a good one. I do. I really, really, really hope next week is a good one. Right, and they bounce back from this, but this is just. It's not good. So you do get a decent battle sequence, but it's okay. And they have this stupid way out. Anyway, so again, it looks cheap. We know this is a set. Okay. We know it just looks cheap. And they bring out the old president and said, you betrayed us. And they stab him and kill him. It doesn't look good. And like, yes, this is always what we want. And here's the thing, you know, Trump rallies aren't like that. They have respect for life. Leftists are like that. Leftists do want to see their boot on your neck if you don't if you don't agree with them, right? If you aren't part of the body, it's not canon, PD mate. Strange New World is not canon. I can't say that strongly enough. It's clearly not canon. Who gives a? I mean, it's just I'm enjoying it, but it's got the essence of Star Trek, which I haven't seen anything else have. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, look, they're baying like, yeah, and it's it's the left who are baying for blood. Look at the DOJ, for God's sake, it's been weaponized, as they always are. Said, we're going to do more, yay! And it's like, you got to let us out, no. And it's like, I'm the second father's girlfriend. Yeah, that's the. Completely coincidental. By the way, I look exactly like the last one. They changed their hair, but they kept my hair the same. So it's like, yes, she is my girlfriend. He gets taken to see her. He used to be her girlfriend, and he's like, "What's going on? No, we could be so close." And she's like, no, you're going to be killed. I said, but I let you go. Why didn't you let me? You should let us go, right? And she's like, no, I cannot be weak. And it just goes. It's a conversation. Just goes on again. An hour and 5 freaking minutes. 42 minutes would have been a stronger episode. Much stronger. Maybe we would have cut. You couldn't cut out the Trump derangement syndrome with this one. I mean, look, Seth, mate. I'm sorry. It was 8 years of misery, 3 years of sunshine, 1 year of COVID, and then Biden. Super misery. Like, just it's too late. I mean, I know you did this years ago, but you're wrong. God, it's the thing liberals can't bear more than they're being wrong. So finally they talked to them and said, yeah, we're going to keep your delegation as prisoners and then execute them. Nah, because we're evil. We're Trump. And Ted Dancer's like, oh my God, they're evil. They're like Trump. So he gets taken away and they say, put this cloak on, right? They put the cloak on. He thinks he's been taken by the kill, but they don't put cloak on. And then he's being taken somewhere else, right? But then they get ambushed by other forces, pew, 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 and the other forces capture Mercer, and they say, come with us, and they take him with them, and they go into this secret hidey place, right? Oh, and in there, there's a revelation. Where's the revelation? A half-human girl, half-human girl, which is his daughter. Right? It's his thought. No, it's only a clump of cells, mate. It's only a clump of cells. You could have bought it right now. Doesn't matter. Fine. He's like, that's my daughter. Wow, my daughter. And he's like, and she was too embarrassed about her. And so she had her hidden away with that family. He's like, I'm not embarrassed. You're wonderful. And she's a very cute, nice girl. And they say they want them to use knowledge of her to get her to back down, right? That's basically what they're doing. Okay, all the Orville ships show up, and the battle isn't actually very good. I have to tell you, the Deep Space Nine ones you see on Netflix on like 480p, if you're lucky, are better. And it's like, oh, what a horrible world you made. Why did you do this? I come to talk you out of it. It's like, no, we must stay pure. Let me show you. And then they show you what their punishment is for somebody who has an abortion. All right, this is how they punish people on Krill if you have an abortion. They bring them into a room and they extract their DNA and they make a fake version of their kid. And the kid goes, "Why did you kill me?" And they're like, "No, don't make." Well, okay, worst thing in the world for liberals, isn't it? Having to accountability. No, don't make me accountable. It's like, how inhumanly evil. Back at the Trump rally. Oh, yeah, we want blah, 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 blah. Not like that. Again, this demonizing of your fellow citizen is awful. And that you believe this. I mean, like, honestly, the Germans believed all the bullshit too. You think you're any different? It's exactly the same. That you're demonizing your fellow countrymen in this way is terrible, and the people doing it are evil. I don't think Seth MacFarlane is evil, right? I don't think he was. I don't think any of them are. I just think they've been brainwashed by this insane society. And it's getting worse the more they fail. And they are failing. So I'm going to kill one. Which one first? And they have a battle. Pew, 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 pew. And there's just too many ships on screen, really. It just doesn't really work. And they choose, I'm going to kill the president first. And then these two show up. We go, who are they? And they throw these grenades that make super light. And they get everybody out. This is the secret Order 21, right? Where they changed themselves to be Krill so they could sneak in and rescue them somehow. They Claire's there and Lamar and they have a chase. Whoa! And honestly, it doesn't. This episode doesn't deserve the budget, really. And it has a huge budget. They get to the ship and then they got to get into the Orville as it's in like a middle of a battle. And look, that first battle we saw was fantastic. This feels like really kind of unnecessary, and I don't like. I liked, at the end of last season when the Krill turned up, right, and you saw what's his name in the ship, the Krill ship. That was a real punch the air moment, right? That was fantastic, and to piss that away over a cheap political analogy that is totally proved wrong and is 3 years stale, right? It's so stupid. It's so freaking stupid. So now the Krill are enemies again, and they're on a set, obviously, and they think, oh, Krill, and then, but meanwhile, his daughter is being watched by her loving mother. Maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope. It's really sad. It's just sad, right? I found this whole episode a real letdown, right? A real letdown. I think this is a jump the shark episode. I'm open for it jumping back. Listen, I watched Strange New Worlds with an open mind after watching all of Discovery, all of Picard, right? I've only had really good stuff from the Orville, but man, it's got to know it needs to bounce back at this point because it's really failed. And it hasn't been good this season, right? We waited a long time. We had 3 years for it, and it's not good enough. That's the bottom line. 3 years for Trump derangement syndrome, 2 years out of date. It's not good enough, right? It's not good enough. And you're letting it, and you're letting yourself down, right? You had a great thing with the Orville, and this is like self-vandalism. It really is. I'm very disappointed. Hopefully next week's better. Although I'm like, I always try and watch Strange New Worlds first, because I know I'm going to enjoy that. Anyway, so there we are. We've done Nicola Bryant PANTO-GATE, which I found quite interesting. Right, I think I'm going to clip that out as a separate video. We've done Orville. We've done Strange New Worlds. We talked about Critical Blast's new book. I think it's time for dinner, right? That's where I am. I think it's time for dinner. I'm going to bid everyone a good evening. Also, I think I had quite a blistering review of the divide in the world right now at the beginning, which I was quite happy with. Well, there you go. I think you got your money's worth tonight. I'm hitting the end broadcast.